Welcome to the Astrology Show with your host, Kelly Fox. Each week, Kelly will give you access to the current transits that are a valuable tool which provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has through our sun sign. Understanding the current planetary influences each week can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. Sometimes, events in your life may seem completely random, but there is a pattern to the order of these events, one set in motion in part by you and in part by the planets and stars in the sky and their influence on your life here on Earth. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, if you're going to get that promotion, move to a new city, or fall in love, tune in to the Astrology Show for guidance. It can help you anticipate problems before they occur, give you tools to cope with changes, and help you look forward to the wonderful days ahead. Kelly Fox is a professional astrologer and internet pioneer who launched astrology.com, one of the first and most successful astrology websites. Today, her passion lies with her new site, theastrologer.com, where she brings a modern-day approach to an ancient wisdom. Please join Kelly each week to learn more about how the planets can align for you.
Hi there, and welcome to the Astrology Show. I sort of join those words together. The Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, and what a busy week we have this week, according to the stars. Oh, my goodness. Some weeks are really dull and boring, and other weeks are really exciting, I guess is one way to put it. We are on a roller coaster, and of course, I'm always harping on about the eclipses, and yesterday we had a solar eclipse in Pisces. So that's always big news, according to astrologers. Eclipses are big news in astrology, and even bigger news when they are affecting a planet in your astrological chart. Now, a chart is, or a chart wheel, if you hear me, you've probably heard me many times talking about charts, and that's C-H-A-R-T. An astrological chart means the very moment you were born, so the date, time, and place of birth, a snapshot was taken in that very moment of the planets in the sky and what signs they were in at that moment, and that's what creates the basis of someone's chart. And if you haven't had your chart done, you can get one for free on my website, theastrologer.com/chartwheel. And then you can follow along with what I talk about each week. And each week I'm talking about where the planets are. And it's all about how it affects us as individuals. So the big news of the week, the astrological headline of the week, of the month, and one of the headlines of the year is the solar eclipse in Pisces, which occurred yesterday at, and I'm just going to give you an exact time, if I can read my tiny little calendar here, in the morning. The numbers are so small I can't even see right now. And it occurred at 8 degrees Pisces. Oh, here we are, 6:58 a.m. Yes, Pacific time, of course. So 9:58 a.m. Eastern time, 8 degrees, 12 minutes of arc of Pisces. So that's big news for the water signs, and that's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, or anybody that has planets in those signs. And even more so, with more detail, if you were born in the beginning of the sign, the first week of Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, this is huge news for you. Also, if you have any planets in water signs, the first 8 degrees of any water sign, also very big news. Also, if you're a mutable sign born in the first week of the mutable signs, and that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, this solar eclipse will be affecting you big time. Now, it affects everybody, but in varying degrees. So that's the astro headline of the week. Also, on Saturday, last Saturday that we just had, a couple of days ago, communication planet Mercury moved into Pisces. So that's news as well, because these two energies don't really fit very well together. So I'll talk about that a bit later in the show. And also the other astro headline is love planet Venus turns retrograde on Saturday. That is big news. It will turn retrograde on Saturday through April 15th. Venus is the planet of love. Retrograde means the energies turn backwards. So that means that love turns backwards, particularly for some signs more than others. I will talk about that later on. But first, let's take a look at the solar eclipse and what it means for you. Well, this solar eclipse in Pisces is the second eclipse of the year. The first eclipse we had was February 10th, and it was in Leo at 22 degrees. So the first eclipse was a lunar eclipse, and that was February 10th, and it's, I don't know if I'd say it's twin, but let's just say it's sibling. Its sibling will occur again August 7th, and that will be in Aquarius. So these lunar eclipses of 2017 are, and this is usually typical that eclipses happen about twice a year, usually in pairs, sometimes in threes, and they're always in opposite signs. So what that means is on February 10th, we had the lunar eclipse in Leo, and then August 7th, we're having the lunar eclipse in Aquarius, which is the opposite sign to Leo. And then the solar eclipse, the first solar eclipse of the year was yesterday in Pisces, and then not quite its sibling, maybe its cousin, might be a better way to think about this, but the second solar eclipse of 2017 will occur August 21st at the very last degree of Leo, which is really interesting and something I'm looking forward to, because the very last degree of Leo, that is known as a position of a fixed star, and it's the royal fixed star called Regulus. So Regulus is in the position of the very last degree of Leo. It's the royal star, and the second solar eclipse of 2017, the second and final, I should say, occurs right at this point of the royal star. So very interesting, particularly for people born late in the fire signs. And the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you were born very much at the end of the fire signs, the solar eclipse, the second solar eclipse of 2017 on August 21st, will be bringing you some new beginnings in a very royal way. Now, how would you interpret that? In a very big way, perhaps? But eclipses are always transforming. They're always memorable, and events don't happen overnight typically when it comes to astrology, and especially with eclipses. You might find that on the day of the eclipse, so yesterday, the day of the eclipse, if this solar eclipse is affecting you and your chart wheel or your natal chart, you'll find that there were lots of events happening, and then events will unfold over the next days, weeks, and months. And of course, a solar eclipse is like a supercharged new moon, and the new moon is always the start of a new cycle. And what happens with a new moon is, it's all about new beginnings. So a solar eclipse is all about new beginnings and starting something, but you can't start something until you finish something first. So you might find that if this solar eclipse is really affecting you, it's maybe conjuncting or aspecting a significant planet in your chart, and that's usually the sun or the moon, an inner planet, any planet really, that new beginnings are on the way for you, but you are forced, if you're not willing to, end something first before the new beginning comes about. So if you're a water sign, born in the first week of the water sign, born in the first week of your sign, and I think I will get really specific here because this is really exciting news if you are born in the first week of a water sign, and that is Cancer. So if you're born June 18th, say through the 25th, this will be really affecting you. Of course, the eclipses do affect all of us in varying degrees. If you're a Scorpio and you're born around October 22nd through the 29th, even the 31st, that's definitely affecting you. And finally, if you're a Pisces, this eclipse will be, if you're a Pisces born, let me see in my calendar here, if you're a Pisces born around the 18th of February through the 4th of March, this solar eclipse will really be affecting you, and it's all about starting something new. On that note, we're going to take a short break, so stay tuned. After the break, I will continue with this week's planets.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the planets this week. And wow, do we have a lot of planetary activity going on. Just before the break, I was talking about the solar eclipse in Pisces. And so what that means is that, and also what's supercharging this solar eclipse is the involvement of Neptune and Mercury. So what that means is the Sun and the Moon and Mercury and Neptune are currently all in Pisces, and they're all grouped together from our perspective here on Earth. So at this time, we have some pretty supercharged Pisces energy going on. What does that mean? Well, Pisces is the sign of intuition and psychic ability. It's also a very, very compassionate sign. So all of these sorts of things at the moment are going on for all of us in varying degrees. So having this much Piscean energy, particularly around a solar eclipse, this is huge. It's really huge news. New beginnings around any sort of spiritual development, intuition, any psychic ability, any sort of creativity as well. So I think of the arts, the performing arts, any sort of art. Also about helping others. Pisces is probably the most compassionate sign of the zodiac. So Pisces is all about helping others, and there's no ego involved. It's such a compassionate, caring sign. So it's always, and I say it meaning the sign of Pisces, he, she, whatever it is, whoever it is always helping others. It's just something that Pisces does naturally without even thinking about. So if you think about all this Piscean energy we've got going on, solar eclipse is about starting something new beginnings. Also, Pisces and its ruler Neptune is about the subconscious mind, anything that's ethereal, anything that we can't see or touch, but we just get a feeling about. This is what this energy rules. So at this time, pay attention to your dreams. Listen to your gut instinct. Also, with all this Piscean energy, it's a very romantic time for many people. And I'm going to talk about Venus, love planet Venus, turning retrograde a bit later. So love and relationships and trust and intimacy, just the theme now through the next few weeks. So that's another thing with all this Piscean energy going on, and then Venus turning retrograde. I think with this intuitive, we've got to listen to our instincts, our gut reactions. Many of us might even be functioning, particularly the water signs, at a psychic level. So always listen at this, particularly at this time, to what our instincts are telling us. Many of us might be very emotional. Pisces is quite an emotional sign. So it's important to not repress or suppress anything that you're feeling and just let it out. And I also think of with Pisces being such a caring and compassionate sign and all this energy going on around Pisces at the moment. And I think I said this recently. When I think of Pisces, I think this is a sign that brings home stray puppies because it can't bear to see them be left alone and hungry. And it really is a wonderful quality. And if more of us can tap into this type of energy because of these influences right now, well, so much the better. But also on the flip side, because Pisces and all this energy and the involvement of Neptune with this solar eclipse yesterday, Neptune is also the planet of illusion. So it thrives on fantasy and imagination. So we've got to be careful. It's nice to be to daydream and fantasize about the future and how the world could be. But really, we've got to also think about reality. So that's really the key piece in here is all this wonderful, beautiful, romantic, caring and compassionate energy at the moment and the idealism that's going on. But we really need to make sure that reality, the dose of reality, is there as well. There's some other influences going on this week, which I will cover later. And one in particular, let me see here. On Thursday, we have an aspect of Jupiter opposing Uranus. Not that that's very grounding, but it brings a bit of a kick into the week with, like, what is possible. So I just talked about the idealism and the fantasy of all this Piscean energy and this solar eclipse in Pisces. So what comes about with this unusual aspect on Thursday of Jupiter opposing Uranus is, the fantasy gets bigger. It's sort of like blowing hot air, but not necessarily a negative way, into all this Pisces idealism. So how will this solar eclipse be affecting your sign in particular? Well, I talked a bit about the water signs, and anybody born the first week of the water signs, each water sign, and that's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The eclipse will be affecting you a lot more than maybe the other signs, but of course, as I keep harping on nearly every show, is that we all have all the planets. We have all the planets in different signs. So even though you might be in Aries, you might have 4 planets in Pisces. So that watery energy tones down the fire of Aries, for example. Anyway, so how will this solar eclipse be affecting your sign? What can you be expecting? Well, if you're in Aries, the solar eclipse triggers your 12th house. And so the 12th house represents the subconscious mind, anything that's intangible. I talked about Pisces and all this Piscean energy bringing up and being involved with intuition and psychic abilities. So if you're in Aries, pay attention to your dreams at this time. They really could be giving you a lot of messages. If you're a Taurus, the solar eclipse triggers connections with friends and groups, and that's social media, online, offline. Friends and acquaintances at this time will be very important to you. And at this time as well, because it's a solar eclipse, it's all about new. So if you put those keywords together and you've got new and then you've got friends or groups, this is a time to make new friends or join new groups or get involved with clubs or things you've been interested in. This is the perfect time. If you're a Gemini, the solar eclipse is triggering and influencing your career. So if you're looking to make a move or make a change or maybe take a step sideways in your career, this is the time to do it with the solar eclipse. If you're a Cancer, this is about publishing or higher education, any sort of legality, thinking about traveling overseas or to a faraway place. This solar eclipse will be influencing you in this particular way. If you're a Leo, this is all about shared resources, sort of shining the light on shared resources or anything that is maybe an inheritance, something to do with insurance, or anything that involves like something higher level, something that's not just yours. It might come from somewhere else, or you might share it with somebody else. If you're a Virgo, the solar eclipse is about relationships, and that's mostly personal, but also business partnerships. So getting involved with a new relationship if you're single, or maybe a new business partnership, or maybe a big agreement coming your way. If you're a Libra, this is the time to focus on your health, diet, fitness, exercise, daily routine. If you've been wanting to start a new health regime, this is the time to do it. I mean, it's always the time to do it, but especially now with this solar eclipse triggering your house of health. If you're a Scorpio and you're single and you're born the first week of Scorpio, you are for sure going to meet somebody, and it's all about romance and courtship and having a good time. You have to put yourself out there. So for all Scorpios, though, this is about single or attached or otherwise. It's all about romance. It's all about having a good time. And also connecting with children. Children will be teaching you something at this time. If you're a Sagittarius, the focus for you at this time with this solar eclipse is around home and family. You might be thinking of moving or renovating or redecorating. That's one outlet for this energy, but also maybe ancestry and family roots, where you come from. If you're a Capricorn, this solar eclipse for you is all about the intellect. It's all about learning, communication, even taking short trips. Also siblings, something about siblings, even neighbours for you at this time of the solar eclipse. If you're an Aquarius, this is all about money for you, spending and saving and your possessions, and just generally attitude around money in general. And finally, if you're a Pisces, well, this is your solar eclipse. This is all about you. The spotlight is on you. So this is about your appearance. This is how other people see you. Other people are taking notice of you at this time. And if you are looking for the spotlight, which Pisces typically doesn't do, but sometimes we might have to with our career or otherwise, this is the time to really take a step forward in that direction. If you're looking to make a change to your appearance, this is the time to do it. Although the disclaimer, and there's always a disclaimer with astrology, with Venus turning retrograde on Saturday, it's not such a great time to make changes to the appearance. But the eclipse overrules the Venus retrograde. So if you're a Pisces and you're looking to maybe get a new haircut, this would be the time to do it. We're going to take a short break. After the break, I will continue with this week's planetary energies, so stay tuned.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Spiritual, metaphysical, green living, psychic, alternative healing, life coaching. Do any of these or similar terms apply to your business or cause? If so, you are in a niche market with a very specific audience. Conscious Gate PR is the world's leading conscious public relations agency. With a global reach of over 4 million and growing, we offer comprehensive media campaigns to our targeted market. Learn more at ConsciousGatesPR.com. Conscious marketing for conscious minds.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the planets this week. And, of course, the big headline of the week is the solar eclipse in Pisces. On Saturday, we also have love planet Venus turning retrograde. But also last Saturday, what was the date last Saturday? The 25th, we had communication planet Mercury. It moved into Pisces. Now, I did talk about we have a lot of Piscean energy at this time. So we're in the season of Pisces. So we've just had a solar eclipse in Pisces. Mercury just moved into Pisces on Saturday, and Neptune is currently in Pisces, where it has been for quite a while. So Mercury moved into Pisces on Saturday, where it will stay until March 13th. Now, Mercury is not comfortable in Pisces. It is its least favorite sign. Planets do have their favorites and their not so favorites and their second favorites and their second not so favorites. So Mercury and Pisces really don't sit well together. Mercury is all about logic, while Pisces is all about emotion. So those two are not very comfortable at all. And with regards to all planetary placements, and I think I will do a show on that pretty soon, which planet goes with which sign and its second favorite and all that sort of thing. It's really fascinating and very insightful. So ancient astrologers used to rank planetary placements, and so Mercury in Pisces was the one that got the lowest ranking. So Mercury in Pisces is the least compatible when it comes to planets and signs. But that doesn't mean it's all negative, because with astrology there's always a pro and a con, a plus and a minus, a shadow and a whatever the opposite is of shadow. And I'm really hesitant to say good and bad because as an astrologer, there's no such thing as good and bad. It just doesn't work that way. It according to astrologers, it just is. So on Saturday we had Mercury, communication planet Mercury. It moved into Pisces, and of course this all depends on how this transit affects the other planets in your birth chart. But for most of us, if not all of us, with this sort of energy, and particularly with the solar eclipse in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces at the moment, many of us might find that our intuitive powers are really strong at this time. But, you know, on the flip side, our rational minds might be on hiatus. And it's really good right now with Mercury and Pisces to look at the bigger picture and the higher vision. If we have to get bogged down with details, they might escape us at this time, like the details of daily life. You know, not many people are really into that sort of level of detail unless you've got a lot of planets in the opposite sign of Virgo. And even then, sometimes it might be difficult. So when Mercury's in Pisces, where it will be until March 13th, miscommunications, misunderstandings are quite possible. Many of us might lose our focus, and sometimes it might become difficult to tell the difference between dream and reality. Has that ever happened to you? You've had a dream and sometimes you don't know if it's real, or maybe you've just dreamt something previously and you're not sure if it really happened or not, or I don't know. I have heard that people do that. And so at this time with Mercury in Pisces, it might be good, and with also this other Piscean energy, it might be good to make decisions based on feelings rather than logic. Of course, always check the facts, regardless of where any planet is at any time. And many of us might find ourselves a lot more sensitive to other people's feelings. And many of our decisions could be motivated by compassion, because I said that Pisces was one of the most caring and compassionate signs of the zodiac. Also, with Mercury in Pisces, we might not be able to explain how we came to a certain conclusion. Words might elude us now, and it's really all about the feeling. So we just get a sense of something. And if we have to explain something, oh dear, you might have to find other ways, other non-verbal ways to express ourselves at this time. Also with Mercury in Pisces, our minds will be more flexible and adaptable and open to other people's ideas. Maybe too open. We don't want to be too influenced. So there needs to be boundaries as well. that might be one thing with all this Piscean energy is we need to draw a boundary. And this will be hard at this time, but this is a lesson for Pisces, is to draw boundaries. So sometimes also with this energy, it's like it's hard to know what we're thinking or to separate our own opinions from others. It's a little bit wishy-washy and even procrastination at this time. But what we have to be careful of is not to go into avoidance or escapism. So any sort of projects that require organisation and attention to detail could be frustrating at this time. So this is definitely an energy that's better used for dreaming up ideal visions for the future. And getting clear about the big picture of what you want to create, because particularly with this solar eclipse, it's all about creation. So find a way to channel your enhanced imagination into creative outlets. And of course, as I said earlier in the show, any sort of performing arts or music or painting or even poetry. So on Saturday, we have love planet Venus turning retrograde, where it will be through April 15th. Now, it turns retrograde in Aries and it moves backwards. It turns retrograde actually in Aries at 12 degrees, and then it moves backwards in Pisces, where it will continue its retrograde motion through April 15th. So during this time of the Venus retrograde, our love lives could be up and down and all over the place. So Venus in itself is a planet of love. It's a planet of money. Its energy is very sweet, affectionate, romantic. Venus is all about pleasure. It's about bringing people together and uniting them harmoniously. So this planet's not just about love and dating. It's also about friendships, partnerships, and any sort of social gathering. And as I said, it also rules money and how you spend money and your attitude around money. So where Venus lies in your chart influences how you approach any kind of partnership. So are you comfortable with intimacy or just a little bit leery of getting too close? Do you live for love, or are you just fine with being on your own? So that's wherever Venus is, whichever sign Venus is in, that will unfold or explain how you are in love and friendships. So it's also about money. It explains your attitudes and values around money as well. So, and Venus rules the signs of Taurus and Libra. So those two signs, the only thing they have in common is their ruler, which is Venus. So Venus turning retrograde is quite unusual, because it's retrograde the least amount of time of all the planets. It's only once every 18 months, and it's about 6 weeks at a time. So with Venus turning retrograde, and it's the planet of love, it's no surprise that during this time that relationship issues will come right to the surface. Things you have simply been tolerating all of a sudden become intolerable. One or both of you in a relationship may say or do things you otherwise would not. And with Venus retrograde, some people have been known to make sudden relationship moves with this influence. But I don't recommend it, not during a Venus retrograde. It's not good to start a relationship, and we find that more relationships end with this influence. It might be better to try and work it out, give the relationship some time, and this is March 4th through April 15th, and then make a permanent decision later on when Venus goes direct after April 15th. It's definitely not a good time to get married or engaged when Venus is retrograde. And I can't even begin to tell you how many weddings I have heard when Venus is retrograde. And at that stage, I keep my mouth shut because the venue has been booked and the church has been booked, and it's all just, there's no point in saying anything. So also what I've found with Venus retrograde is that a love from the past may reappear. And of course that will depend on where this Venus retrograde falls in your chart, but a love from the past may reappear. Also, because Venus is the planet of money, there might be money issues from the past resurfacing that need to be dealt with. So just be careful not to repeat the same mistakes, if indeed you do consider these things a mistake, or something that is still open-ended that needs closure. And just as a reminder, we had that solar eclipse yesterday, and it's all about new beginnings, but we can't move forward until we fix something from the past or something, we bring closure to something. So in other words, if this Venus retrograde for you is all about a lover appearing from the past, it's because something is not complete. So if you don't want anything to do with this person, you need to complete something with them before you can move forward. So the most valuable feature of a Venus retrograde is a chance or an opportunity to reevaluate what is important to you. So we're going to take a short break. After the break, I will continue with this week's planets, so stay tuned.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millicers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance so common with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the planets this week. Just before the break, I was talking about Venus, love planet Venus, turning retrograde on Saturday, where it will be moving backwards from our perspective here on Earth through April 15th. Now, it's moving backwards in the sign of Aries and then Pisces. So when Venus is retrograde, and this is just overall, as I just said, it's not a good time to get married or engaged or open a bank account, and try not to purchase any luxury items or make any major sort of purchases. They're likely to be overpriced or even faulty. It is a good time, though, when Venus is retrograde to purchase things from antique stores or second-hand stores or flea markets, because retrograde means something from the past or redoing something. Now, when Venus is retrograde in Aries, it's going to be quite interesting because, as I was saying earlier in the show, planets and signs. Now, planets have their favorite signs and their least favorite signs. Now, Venus's favorite signs are Taurus and Libra. And Venus doesn't really like Aries and Scorpio. So Mars loves Aries and Scorpio, but Venus is not really comfortable in Aries, and it retrograde in Aries. That's a double discomfort, let's just say. So Venus, love planet Venus, it's not only appearing to move backwards from our perspective here on Earth, it's moving backwards in a sign it doesn't really like. On the other hand, when it moves backwards into Pisces, it's a much better fit. And I'm just looking for the date here of when it moves back into Pisces, which is, it's all the way through April that it's moving back into Pisces, and that is on April 2nd. So all through most of its retrograde, it will be in Aries, where it is not very comfortable to be coupled up with this sign. Venus in Aries, it's going to be really interesting because this is the time when many of us might be feeling daring and adventurous when it comes to matters of the heart. But really, most of us, if we act out in this daring and adventurous way, it's probably going to be reckless and more likely heedless of the consequences. So this is not a good period for starting a new relationship anyway, but more so because Venus is in a sign it doesn't like, and that's Aries. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and tends to rush into things anyway. So anything around a relationship at this time, we might find that our judgment is a little off. And also, like, maybe somebody who seems irresistible during this Venus retrograde may have us scratching our head once Venus turns direct again, wondering what we saw in our heart's desire during this retrograde period. So it might apply to our own actions and how we go about pursuing someone attractive. So maybe our aim is a little off when Venus is retrograde. And I think of a chain of firecrackers shooting in all directions, all heat and flash, and plenty of potential for danger. And as I said, Venus retrograde might be about reconnecting with an old flame. That really is a distinct possibility at this time. But take it very slowly if that is the case. So many of us might want to throw ourselves heart first into a relationship, but really take a deep breath, fingers crossed, behind your back, of course, and baby steps. That really is my word of advice with this influence. Oh, and of course, many of us might be hot-headed during this time as well, picking arguments with our sweeties just purely for excitement. How about that? So, but it is good for clearing the air, I guess. There's always a flip side to everything. But just before I move on, try not to make any major relationship decisions until after April 15th. Other astrological influences of this week, and as I said, we have a really busy week. Mars conjunct Uranus, that was yesterday, and that's a real go-getter, unexpected type of energy. We do what we want, could be the mantra for this aspect. Coupled with the solar eclipse, it's like, whoa, what a week we are having. There's a lot of physical energy around this type of aspect. Also today, Mars opposite Jupiter, more physical energy. We might find that we're lighting the candle at both ends. So that's really interesting. Also for competition, be careful about butting heads. It's good if you are in any type of sporting activity, but it's a very competitive aspect, Mars opposing Jupiter. On Wednesday, the Sun conjunct Neptune, which of course is exact, but it is part of this solar eclipse energy. So I talked about that earlier in the show. It's more about using your intuition, trusting your gut instinct, and going with any sort of creative project. Now, the big aspect of the week on Thursday is Jupiter opposing Uranus. Now, this is a rare aspect, and it does indicate, because it's an opposition, a build-up of tension and a sudden release. It's best to avoid any discussions about religion and politics, which it usually is anyway, but particularly under this influence. And this aspect really doesn't occur that often at all. So any sort of heated debates, conversations are more likely to result in dispute than any of increased understanding or compromise. Even though we do have a lot of Pisces energy, it's still better to avoid hot topics. And some of us might be like zealously defending our own positions without considering any other opinions. So it's better just to not get up into someone's face, even if they take an opposing view and they want to have a discussion, or you want to have a discussion, and I'm saying that in quotes. It's not a time to pick a fight with the opposition under this influence. It might be better just to keep quiet, listen, and maybe learn something. So on Saturday, Venus turns retrograde, but we also have Mercury forming a conjunction to Neptune, and I talked about the group of Piscean influence, and so Mercury and Neptune are in Pisces. Definitely a time for daydreaming and being creative and anything musical. It's not good for focusing in on any sort of detail. Details will be very difficult this week. Now, for your weekly horoscope. If you're an Aries, speak the truth in your relationship, but do it kindly and with love. There are issues which need resolving in your love life, and a discussion will be healthy. Be prepared to consciously listen as well as to talk. If you're a Taurus, you are beautiful inside and out. This is a week for embracing your body image and for loving the person you see in the mirror. If you need to make changes in order to get healthier, by all means do, but don't fall for media body shaming. If you're a Gemini, this week, let your creativity shine through. You are far more talented in art, music, or writing than you think. Put some of your work out there for others to enjoy. It may seem scary, but you will grow positively from the glowing feedback you receive. If you're a Cancer, practice forgiveness within the family, no matter how badly someone has hurt you. Life is too short to bear grudges with family members. Make the first move towards healing and offer that olive branch. If you're a Leo, this should be a fantastic week if you work in sales, public relations, or any other field where you must convince and persuade others. Your communication skills are off the charts. Do something useful with your amazing ability with words. If you're a Virgo, rethink your attitude towards your finances. You have more than enough to get by, so stop feeling sorry for yourself and start to feel gratitude instead. Recognize your blessings instead of hankering after what you don't already have. If you're a Libra, it's okay to be different. Don't feel that you must follow convention this week. It will do you good to break a few rules and to let your individuality shine through. Be yourself and be honest about who you are. If you're a Scorpio, spiritual exploration beckons this week. Don't hesitate to consider beliefs or pathways which appeal to you, even if they are a long way from the faith you grew up with. It's all about expanding your spiritual knowledge. If you're a Sagittarius, it may be time to move on from some friendships which have run their course. Bring new people into your life now who excite and inspire you. Social groups which no longer engage you are just another chore in your life. If you're a Capricorn, dare to dream bigger and bolder in your career. You've been holding yourself back through a lack of confidence, but you have the support you need from friends and family. So why wait? Make a move now towards a greater future. If you're an Aquarian, travel is well starred this week. So do try to visit somewhere new if you can. Visiting new places will bring you into contact with new people too. And at least one person coming into your life now will prove to be precious in years to come. And if you're a sweet Pisces, there's a healing vibe around you this week, and you should be able to make progress with a self-help or self-development issue. Learning to love the real you is the first step toward being able to love others. Love you before you can love your partner. And there you have it. They're the stars this week, and just remember, Pisces, it's all about Pisces. Listen to your intuition. Trust your gut instinct. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kelly Fox, your host and astrologer, and this is The Astrology Show.